Okay, welcome to the community call tonight, you guys. I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm really excited to hear from Stacie Fletcher tonight. And I was trying to remember even how many years ago we met. I can't even remember. It was a lot of years ago because we worked for the same missions organization for a really long time. And whenever Stacie would travel to the Pacific Northwest, I would get to see her, which was really fun. And now she is venturing out into a new, well, I mean, it's a ministry too, but a new work endeavor and a business. And so I'm excited that we get to hear from her. And she is passionate about helping people create a life they love. And she's been teaching goal setting and time management for decades. And helping people to purposely and practically do the things that they struggle to do to create the results that they really want. And so I know everyone is going to be able to benefit from what she's going to share tonight. She's a certified life coach through the Life Coach School, and she coaches in business, time management, relationships, weight loss, and over drinking. She lives in Orlando, Florida, and considers any time spent outdoors in her Jeep or at a theme park time well spent. And I love following you because I live vicariously through you and you're like kayaking around or at the fun parks. Like, oh, it looks so great. But welcome to the call tonight. I'm so excited that you're here. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. So tonight I am going to focus in, we could talk about lots of different areas, but I am going to focus in specifically on goals, and because of the context in the audience that we are, goals for your business. And so that's really what we're going to focus in on today. And so tonight I'm talking about looking into your future. And the reason that I call goal setting looking into your future, because it really is that. Our futures don't just happen to us, although we know lots of things happen that we don't have any control over, that are outside of our control. On the other hand, we create a lot of our future, especially when it comes to business goals and business experiences. And so the idea of goal setting is looking into the future, deciding the future you want to create, and then mapping out literally the map that you're going to take to get there. And so the first thing that you need to do is determine what future result do you really want to create? What future result do you really want to create? I think a lot of times, I don't know, women, people in ministry, we get really caught up into like, I don't know what I should do. I don't know what I'm created to do. I don't know what I'm called to do. And we kind of really get kind of caught up in not knowing the direction that we want to go. But when it comes down to it, I coach a lot of athletes right now. My second business is a business to athletes and coaches. And I've never coached a 4'11" person who wanted to be an NBA star. Like when it comes down to it, most of the times, the things that we really want to do, those things that are deep down, kind of niggling at us, calling to us, are the things we're actually wired to do. And so when you tap into that inner wisdom and you remove fear, hard to do, remove shoulds, remove the what ifs, remove the or else's, and you just tap into the wants. What do I want to do? What would just be really fun to create is when you can really get to those goals that are going to be really effective goals to go after. So I'm assuming in this group that you guys have, you know, potentially already created a business goal for yourself for this year that you're going after, whether that's a specific monetary number, a specific, you know, number of people underneath you, a specific number of people buying. And so I want you to pick one of those goals and write that down in front of you so that you have that to really go off of for what we're going to create for this evening. So take a goal. If you've already set it, just write it on down. If you haven't, don't make it complicated. Just write something down that you think would be really fun to achieve this year? All right, so for those of you watching afterwards, you can pause if that isn't enough time. For those of you on the call, sorry, we're going to keep moving. But the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take a look. You know, if you go to the map and like you're at a map at a mall, because all of us have been to malls this last year, right? You go to a map and it says you are here. And when you're really trying to determine, you know, how you're going to chart out a path, first you need to determine where you want to go, which is what we just did. We kind of determined that little star at the end of the journey. And then you have to determine where you are now. And so the first way to work on determining where you are now is to take a look at two things. One is the fact, literal, actual facts. What does your bank account say right now? How many actual customers do you have right now towards getting to your goal? How many people on your team do you have right now? What are any of those things, those actual numbers, whatever your goal is, what's the current number that you're actually sitting at? And maybe any surrounding facts that are important to you as you think about that. And so you're going to write down a list of the facts about where you are right now. And I'm going to give you just a minute to do that, but it's actually going to be helpful to come back and be really exhaustive and just get out all the facts that you can think of surrounding your business. And here's the way that I want to determine a fact. A fact is something, this is a little different than what you would maybe think, that everyone would agree on. Just neutral. Everyone could look at your bank account, everyone could look at your sales reports, everyone could look at that and go, that's the fact. So what's just the actual, the numbers, the things right there. So go ahead and take just a minute and write those down. Now, so for some of you, you may not know those answers. And so I just want you to like put a little bookmarker to go back and find those. And this is actually going to be one of the things that's really important. We live all of the time in the drama. All of the things that our emotions are saying, all of the things that our mind is saying. And it's really helpful instead to spend a lot more time in the math. What are the facts? Where am I at? What does that data tell me? What can I learn from it? And just stay really current on your actual facts and not make them mean all this stuff. And so if you don't know the facts off of the top of your head, that's totally okay. But go ahead and start working on getting to a place where you relatively know those facts pretty quickly and pretty easily, because you're not making them mean something other than just evidence that gives you information on what you need to do and where you're at. So the next thing I want you to do is write down all of your thoughts. So we're looking at the goal that you've created. We're thinking about what are your thoughts right now about that goal? What are your thoughts about your ability to accomplish that goal? What are your thoughts about why you haven't currently reached that goal in the past? What are your thoughts about the goal in of itself? And this is something I would normally, suggest you take a good 10, 15 minutes to write down. I'm going to give you 2. So we'll just do a little play episode today. You can record this or rewatch the recording, come back, press pause, and really exhaustively look at your thoughts around this. Okay, so now in order to understand where you really are, we're going to take one of those thoughts, the one that you think is more significant than others, and we're going to run it through what we call the thought model. So you can go ahead and stop writing for this from this point on, like you could come back and do it. I just want you to go ahead and listen and hear because it's a little bit to take in to try to actually do it at the same time. But what you would do is you take one of these thoughts and you're going to run it through the thought model. So the circumstance is your goal. The circumstance is just the neutral fact about the situation. So in this situation, the circumstance is your goal. So you're going to write that here in this C line. And then next you're going to write the thought down that you have about it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to tune into your body and you're going to determine what feeling you have when you think that thought. Now, a feeling is literally just a physical vibration that happens in your body as a result of a thought that your brain thinks. Your brain releases chemicals and hormones whenever you think specific things. And we have used language to describe those physical responses as a feeling. And the more versed you get in the language of feelings, the better you're able to do this. So I love to use a feelings chart or a feelings wheel to go from, specifics. Like there's a huge, under angry, there's a huge difference from irritated to raging, right? But a lot of times we just kind of like go, I'm angry. And so determining like, are you irritated? Are you frustrated? Are you mad? Are you annoyed? Are you angry? Are you raging? Are you, all of those things. And to really tune into the actual thought can be, or say actual feeling can be really helpful. But what you're going to do is you're going to pick a feeling word that best describes the physical vibrations going on in your body when you think that thought. You're going to take that thought, whatever it is, and then you're going to determine the feeling. Then what you're going to do is you're going to look and say, what are the actions that I take from that feeling? We usually think that our actions come from the circumstance. She said this, so I felt this. This happened, so I felt this way. He did this, so I felt this. But if that were true, we would always feel the exact same way as everyone else in the same circumstance. If a circumstance caused us to feel a specific way, we would all feel the exact same things every time something happened. The reality is we don't even always feel the same way in the same circumstance. So if you think about the circumstance of skydiving, when I say skydiving, some of you might feel like that, like excited, ecstatic, like happy. I actually feel peaceful when I think about skydiving. Other people would feel terrified, like kind of the like, what in the world are you think you're doing kind of feelings, right? So hasn't changed. It's the exact same circumstance, but we all have different feelings about it based on what we're thinking. And so this thought always drives a feeling in your body. And so the first thing is to take the thought and determine what feeling you have. Then to determine that feeling, you're going to see what actions do you take out of that feeling. So let's say the feeling is, let's say the thought, like your circumstance, your goal is, I don't know what a realistic goal would be. Jody, what's your goal?
Well, my big goal for this year is Sapphire.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your goal is Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to make you come on and do the whole thing, but let's say, I'm just going to make it up for you. Let's say you had a thought that was, I hope I can make it. And if you thought, I hope I can make it, you might feel tentative. And if you felt tentative, then you think about the actions that you take when you feel tentative. Kind of like, you tiptoe into that. You kind of tiptoe into this. Like when you feel tentative, you take little bits of actions to kind of see what happens. And then if it doesn't go well, you're like, okay, I'm going to go back. Right. And so when you think about tentative, the feeling of tentative, or let's say you feel unsure, let's say you feel fearful, let's say you feel scared, let's say you feel like unrealistic, the actions that you're going to take out of that, and then the things that inaction, the things that you're not going to do when you feel tentative. You're not going to take massive action. You're not going to try everything it possibly takes to get to that result that you want, right? A lot of times when you feel an emotion, the actions that you take are out of trying to resist that emotion. So if it's a negative emotion that you don't think is good, you take a lot of actions to try to resist the emotion, or you take actions to react to an emotion, or then you take actions to like numb the emotion away. I feel scared and tentative, so instead of getting on and doing my work tonight, I'm just going to go ahead and have a donut. I'm going to have some of that pizza instead, or I'm going to have a glass of wine. I'm going to do something that feels really good in the moment and that will numb away this negative feeling I'm having. So the actions that you take or the inactions that you take always come from the feeling. And then the result that you get is from those actions. And so here's why that's really important. We talk a ton about mindset. We talk a ton about, the power of positive thinking and all of those things. But if you don't believe that thought, if that thought doesn't drive a feeling in you that will fuel the kinds of actions you need to be taking to get to your goal, it doesn't matter. Because you always take action out of your feeling, and your feelings always come from the thought you actually believe. And so it's really important to get a good you are here. What are you actually believing, and what are you actually feeling that's driving your actual actions, getting you your current actual result? Yep. And I'm going to kind of speed up here. Just look at where you want to be. So you looked at your you are here in the map, and then you're looking at your goal, where you want to be. And you're going to go backwards. You're going to talk from the bottom. What is the specific result that you want to create? So this is your goal. This is the fact. This is the ledger. This also could be how you want to show up in it. So the specific result you want to create might be the specific way that you want to show up in it. But just let's for now go the specific result. What do you have to do? And what do you have to stop doing to get that result? This is facts, all the actions. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. Some of those are going to be like, I don't know how. I got to research. I got to learn. I got to experiment. I got to try. But what are all the things that you're going to have to do to get this result? And then what are you going to need to feel to fuel these actions and inactions? It's that vibration that's going to need to go on in your body. A lot of times we think we want to feel things like confident, excited. I found those feelings are not as long-term as is often needed for the massive action to get to your goals. A lot of times they're feelings like engaged, curious. I want to be curious. I want to try a whole bunch of different things and see what's going to work. I'm engaged in the process. I want to really figure out what's going to work to get me to that goal. Determined. I'm going to keep going no matter what until I get to my goal. What are all these feelings? But figuring out for you, because this is very specific. Different feelings feel good in different people. One of my co-business owners, she loves to feel certain. I love to feel curious. Those are very different feelings, but for us, they actually drive the same actions. And so looking for you, what feeling is going to drive the actions that you need to take? And then what are you going to need to actually believe to feel that feeling, to generate that feeling? So this is where we craft our new thought model. We find the result that we want, the actions that will get us that result, the feeling we will need to feel to do that, and then the thought we will need to think to generate that feeling. And so then we have our nice little map here. We have our where we are now. So we have our model where we are right now, our current thought, current feeling, current actions and inactions, the current result, the same thing for the future for this result that we want to create. And then in the middle, we have the river of misery. Our obstacles between here and there, and then our strategies to overcome each one of those obstacles. And the reason that we call it the river of misery is not because everything in the experience is miserable. And it's not because this is good and this is bad. Like a lot of times we think when I achieve that goal, then I'll feel great. But if we come back to the model, the feeling always comes from our thoughts, not our circumstance. So we're not going to feel any better here than we do here if our thoughts don't change. It's our thoughts that will always do that. And so, in fact, we usually have to change this model to become this model. And that process can be a bit painful. It often will cause us to look into our beliefs about ourselves and about our abilities. And it will cause us to be willing to be uncomfortable, to be willing to do things that are uncomfortable. And so that then is where we actually then move into this place when we're willing to do all of the uncomfortable things. All right, that's the before and after process. I know we're actually getting to time and we were going to try to bring someone on. So Jody, you tell me what you think about time. I can just kind of wrap us up or we can actually take someone through this.
Well, if you are okay with it, I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Someone do it if someone has something that they want to do,
yeah.
or if people have questions before your time is up.
So before I bring someone on, in case some people have to jump off, let me just say this. I would love to coach you guys on this. So normally what I offer is a 12-session coaching package. I have a 12-session business coaching package where we go through your relationship with your business and all of these things. But what I would love to offer this particular group is a 6-session package just on goals and on beginning to set those goals and then determining that path and then determining the things that are actually getting in your way and beginning to work on how can we believe new things, how can we create new thoughts and feelings to go to where you want to go. So just want to say that I would love to offer that for you guys. I do all of this stuff. I've spent the last 2 years steeped deeply in it, and I have a coach for my own business because there's just nothing like having someone help you examine your own thoughts, help you get out of your own head and really determine what it is that you want to do. I had a coaching session today where we worked through what I was going to talk about tonight and what I was going to offer you guys tonight because it's just helpful to have somebody that's can hold space for you to be where you are, but who can believe for you to be all of who you want to be. And I would love to be that person. So I'll give you guys the information for that. But there's nothing like a live example. So I would love if anybody's willing to be a brave volunteer to actually take you through this process. And I'm going to move this while one of you raises your hand. All right, we have a volunteer. Stephanie, are you raising your hand? Awesome.
Yes.
All right. So Stephanie, tell me your current goal.
Okay, so the current goal is to be Ruby, or that would be like 500 points in our business. I think, right, Jody? Is that right? I forgot.
Okay. So to be Ruby, tell me your current facts and a couple of your current thoughts.
Okay,
See that at
so
all?
yes.
Okay.
Current facts, I'm gold is my rank right now. And last month I ended at 70 points, I think.
So February 28th, 70 points. Gold is your current. So tell me a couple of thoughts that you have.
So I have that, like when you mentioned earlier, I was like, oh, that's my exact thought. Like, I hope I can make it.
Okay, what are a few others?
Is this doable?
Mm.
And
One thing I want to ask, whenever you put a question in the thought line, answer it.
Okay.
What's your answer to is this doable?
So it feels like, well, I'm saying feeling, but
Yeah,
it doesn't, I'm not confident that I can do it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not confident I can do it. What else?
How will I'm having trouble duplicating myself in order to grow, or I need to duplicate, and I'm not doing that right now.
I need to duplicate myself to grow. That's a good thought, right? Because can you actually duplicate yourself?
No.
Oh, and it's so normal. We think things like that. Like, I need to duplicate myself to grow. And it kind of sounds like an innocent thought, right? But the reality is your brain knows the answer that you cannot duplicate yourself. So therefore, the actual answer is you cannot grow.
Right.
Right? Like that's what your brain is currently telling you. Okay. So let's go with I'm not confident. What was it? I'm not confident that I can do this.
That I can do this. Yep.
Okay, so I'm not confident that I can do this. What thought does that feel in your body?
Doubt.
Doubt.
Uncertainty.
Yeah. Which one feels more?
I'd say, let's see. We'll go with doubt.
Okay. So when you feel doubt, what do you do? And we're going back to your around specifically the circumstance of gold. When you feel doubt, what do you do?
I am not sure what action to take.
And when you're not sure what action to take, what do you do?
I don't do what I need to do.
Yeah. Usually when we tell ourselves I don't know, either we don't take any action or we kind of do a little merry-go-round. Like I'll do a little of this and a little of this and a little of this and a little of this. And we kind of just do lots of little things that keep us running, but aren't necessarily the things that we feel like are strategic to be doing, right?
That makes sense. I'm a merry-go-round person, I think.
Yes. So you do a merry-go-round of actions or nothing. What else do you do?
Probably try to listen to more trainings.
Yep. What else?
I feel like that kind of covers a lot of it, just not doing the things that I should be doing.
Yeah. What don't you do?
So I don't make the time for my business a priority that I know I really need to have that time built in order to get things accomplished. So I don't make the time. I'll distract myself with other things or, just put other things above it.
I'm guessing you don't like, in our world, we call it make offers.
Right.
You
Yeah.
don't actually ask people if they want to buy or join you.
Right. Yep.
And so then the result is, your thought was, I'm not confident that I can do it. Your result is you don't do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I always also like to look at the result in terms of the relationship with ourselves. So the other part of it is like you fail ahead of time,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So you kind of go like, I might fail at this. And so I'm just going to kind of do the things where I fail ahead of time. And one of the things that our brain loves to do is prove itself right every time. It's like our brain doesn't really care what it gathers evidence for. It just gathers evidence for whatever you put it at. So when you're asking your brain to say, I'm not confident I can do this, your brain is going to go to work to prove that you can't do it. That's just how our brains work. It's like, I don't care what you tell me to work at. I'm going to go, when you buy a new car and all of a sudden you see that car everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that's just your brain's just like, okay, I'm gathering evidence towards whatever it's already thinking. So that's your current model. So let's go with the result that you want is gold, right? Is that correct?
The result I want is ruby.
Ruby, you are gold. You want,
Right.
our membership is called gold, so I'm just fixated on the gold. Okay, so you want ruby. What's all the actions you're going to need to take that you know of to get to ruby?
Make offers.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So like make offers for people. I'm thinking like to become, customers, but also for them to join in my business.
Yeah.
Make offers for people to share, just, like do referrals, share for referrals.
Yeah.
I feel like those are like, there's a lot of things. I feel like those are like the biggest things.
And you're probably going to need to experiment some, right? You're probably going to need to try different things. And you're going to need to fail. The big F word, you're going to need to fail. Because any success is always built on a pile of failures. Because when we learn something new, the only way to learn that new thing is to try something, fail, try something else, fail, try something else, fail, try something else, fail. But when we learn from every one of those failures, then each time we can apply what we've learned, move it to the next thing, to where then we get our personal recipe for success, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're probably also going to need to like follow what you plan to do. Like you had talked about that you didn't make the time for it. You're going to need to, like, whatever time you set, you do it. Mm-hmm. You sit at that computer, you do the work, even when you don't feel like it. You're going to need to probably choose to not do other things that feel more pleasurable in the moment, all of that. Mm-hmm. And so in order to do all of those things, what would you need to feel?
I know you said like confident is not always like a, like a long-term or a good long-term feeling.
Depends on the person.
Right.
If that feels right for you, we can go with it.
I like the ones that you mentioned earlier. You had engaged, and then what was the other one?
Curious.
Oh, curious. Okay.
For me, that comes with the idea of failing a lot, of like, I'm just going to try every possible thing I can think of. I'm really curious to see what's going to work. Mm-hmm. When I can kind of step into that space, then I can make offers and remove myself from the emotional drama of whether or not those offers work, because I'm just gathering evidence. I'm just being curious to try to feel what works.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yes, I think I would like to feel curious.
Yeah. So what do you need to believe to feel curious?
That failure is part of the process. That it's okay.
Failure is
That
part of the process, and I just want to try different things to see what works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a huge one.
Yeah. I just had another one that I was thinking of. Failure is part of the process. I will eventually get there. Like,
Yeah.
Success is coming.
Yeah. So if you really believed I will eventually get there, you would probably feel optimistic or confident. And that would drive some of those longer term actions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some other thoughts?
That I am capable, or like I'm capable, like I am able to learn and grow and do what it takes.
Yeah. 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 That's a beautiful one. So then the next thing that we would do in the process is we would go, okay, so these are the thoughts that you need to move towards believing in order to feel these ways, in order to take these actions to get this result. And then we would look at all of the obstacles between your current model and your future model. So your current model is, I'm not confident I can do this. You know, your future model is, I'm capable. Okay, all of those things. And then we look at what are all the obstacles between the one and the other. And those obstacles are going to be learning how to believe something new. Those obstacles are going to be learning how to feel any feeling. So when you fail, when you are rejected, when you're humiliated, how do you feel that feeling and be fine with it? It's just a little feeling. It's not a big deal. How can you be willing to feel any feeling? You're going to need to be able to experiment and try different things. You're probably going to need to do some research. You're probably going to need to not just learn the courses, but then stop and apply the courses, right? Mm-hmm. All of those kinds of things. So you're going to look at all the obstacles and then all the strategies. And then you just go to work actually doing those strategies. And in order to do them, then you also daily do this work where you do the thought download. What are my current thoughts around my goal? Take one of those thoughts, run it through a model, craft a new model, and then figure out the thoughts that you really want to work on that day to generate the feeling that day that you need to do the actions that day. And then work on moving into believing those new thoughts. And I kind of can take you through lots of different processes for all of that, for the time management of it, for the believing a new thought. But that's simply the process where you just take a look at where you are now, where you want to go. And then the more that you can make it about the math. Okay, I need to offer this to 100 people. So I need, 5 new people to join me. And my normal numbers are for every 5 I offer, or, I get 5 for every 25 I offer. So I'm going to need to make, this many offers to get to that. There was rejection number 1. There was rejection number 2. There's rejection number 3. Oh, there was acceptance. There was, and you just kind of go through and it's just the math. And it's not the drama, and it doesn't mean anything about you. So. Thanks, Stephanie, for being my guinea pig.
Yes, definitely.
Very honest.
Brave.
Very brave. Exactly.
Yep. And I'm sure that all of us were like, oh man, when you said 6 weeks, I was like, oh yeah, I need 6 weeks of coaching on this. And I'm in another coaching, but I was like, oh yeah, I could totally use this.
I would love to
I have
coach you
several
guys.
things. So
Yeah.
yes, it's so helpful. And it's not easy. Like it's not easy to
Yeah.
like reframe your brain. Like
Yeah.
it takes a lot of work. So
Well, one of the things that like your brain creates neural pathways. And so basically your brain creates a road and your brain is like, this is the road we take and this is where that road goes. And so what you have to do is you have to decide, is where that road going where I still want to go? And when you decide no, you have to create a whole new road. And I always joke that you have to actually like start by hacking it through the jungle. And when you're hacking it through the jungle and then you're creating the gravel road and then you're paving it, like that's a lot of work. And your brain's always like, but the freeway, it's so easy. Like, can we just go on the freeway? And you have to constantly be like, no, the freeway's not going where we want to go. So yeah, it's easy, but like this is the road that we want to do. And so it takes work to build a new neural pathway. And the work that we do goes both. It works on the cognitive, behavioral, psychological part of it, and then it just works on just the coaching. But the biggest thing I want to leave you guys with is that when it comes down to it, it's not about the A line. It's not about the actions. Most of our focus in our society is about like, okay, you need to do these things. Now just do them. But the problem is we always do things out of how we're feeling. That is literally our fuel. And then we always feel based on what we're thinking. And so you have to believe the new thought. You can't just do like positive thinking affirmations and get a new result. That new thought has to drive a new feeling in your body. That new feeling will then actually lead to the new actions. But doing the work on your brain is what will actually get you the results that you want. And trying to whip yourself into shape to do the actions when you feel completely differently doesn't work on the long term. It just works for a little while.
so true.
So my package for you guys is 6 weeks for $900. And that's not on my website anywhere. So my website is mymindmanagement.com, which that is not going to get you there because I didn't put the little HTTPS. But Jody, do you want me to just send it to you and you can
That'd be
add
good.
it to the post? So so that's my website, and it has on there like a book a free session. So you guys can just book a free session with me. We can chat about your goals and objectives. We can determine this, but then I will give you guys this offer where most of the time I just do 12-week coaching packages, but I know that you guys, I really wanted to focus specifically on this goal setting. So wanted to offer that to you guys. And so in our session, you can just be like, hey, this is Jody's group, or I watched the recording from Jody's group, and then we can go from there.
Okay. Thank you so much, Stacie. I so appreciate your time, for being here, for all of that. So awesome. So thank you.
Thanks. So much fun. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Before you guys pop off, hold on. I'm going to stop recording real quick.